This is going to be the first video of the From the Archives series. I first started taking pictures and videos around the mid to late 2000s. And I would say I have a good amount of material starting in 2008. There is some from before that, which is in different archive folders that I have. But in 2008, it was really towards the end of 2008, I was just about to go into high school, and I got my first personal computer that was just mine that I used, and I had it in my bedroom. And that was when I really started to get interested in photography and filming, because now I finally had somewhere to store all these pictures and videos. And so in 2008, I started to take videos. And as the years progressed, I really enjoyed photography. I loved filming. I filmed all the time. I drove everybody nuts. I was always taping, always filming. I recorded thousands upon thousands of hours of audio and video recordings of just everyday activities that I did. And a lot of them I'm not going to post because they're just personal things that are personal to me. But there are a good number of videos that are of fans or equipment or things like that, which I will post because I think it would be interesting. Some other people would probably find it interesting to see what happened, because even though that was only going to be 15 years ago, life is a lot different now than it was 15 years ago. And things have really changed. So anyways, the first pictures and videos that we're going to look at were taken on April 22nd, 2008, around 6:30 in the evening. These pictures and videos are from the first house that we lived in after the apartment before this house. And in the backyard of that house, there was a small stream that I had a thorough fascination with. Starting at that point and up until this day, I have had a fascination with water and streams and culverts. I just really like the water. And so it had this little stream that would go through the backyard, and over the years I just spent hours and hours and hours around the stream. I would clean it out in the spring, get all the leaves and the sticks out. I'd build patios around it. I had lights out there. It was really kind of exotic for what I was capable of at the time. So right before we were going to move out of that house, I went back and I took a video walkthrough of that stream. And this was like right in the beginning of the era where I started to record everything. And I'm so glad that I have this recording. My memory isn't very good of this time period. And so if I don't have the pictures to trigger the memories of the time, I don't remember them very well. And so I'm so glad that I have the video and some pictures that shows what this was like, because it was really cool. It was a big part of my life at the time. And when I finally end up with a house of my own, I want to replicate something like this in the yard. So I'm going to go play the video. I'm going to let it play through. It's only a minute and a half, I think. It's fairly short. Yeah, it's a minute and a half. So I'm going to let it play through, and then I'm going to we'll look at the pictures. Or actually, I'll play the video. I'll show the pictures. I'll talk about the pictures, and then what the pictures don't cover in full, I'll go back to the video and pause it in certain parts and talk about different things. Now, bear in mind this video is not a very high quality by today's standards. It's only a 480p video. It was taken with a Sony CyberShot camera from 2003, which was the camera that I used for years, and I still have that camera to this day. I want to do a video on that camera eventually because it's a really kind of a cool camera. But anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and play the video here, and then I'll show the pictures. Okay, so that's the video. So you can see it's kind of a neat little thing I had back there. It was a pretty small stream, only about a foot wide, and a lot of times it would dry out in the summer, but in the spring, like in April, it was usually flowing. And if we got a lot of rain, it would flow really good, and it would actually just kind of flood out quite a bit. So here's some photographs. I guess my mother must have taken these photographs because I'm in one of them, so I couldn't possibly have been taking them. Can we? I lose the preview. I'm not sure if it's recording or not. Well, we'll just do this. Just leave it like this. Okay, so this, I'm really kind of amazed that I did this at the time because I didn't have a lot of tools. Like I had a shovel and maybe had a rake or two. A lot of this was done by hand. As you saw, even in the video, I'm cleaning it out with a stick. This is very like primitive work here. What it goes to show is what you can do with time. You know, when I would get home from school, I didn't watch TV. I didn't play video games. I went outside, and this is one of the things that I would do. I would just spend hours back here building this. Before I did this, it used to just be one straight thing. I think I have a photograph from a distance. So it used to just go like this. It was just a plain straight thing. And so what I did was I dug this out so it was like a kind of like a pond area there, and I rerouted it back through here, over in the back here, and then back. And then I built this patio and this walkway. So let's start with the first picture. So this is the pond area, and here, this is where my culvert fascination kind of comes in. I would put the cinder blocks in, and I would fill in around it so that the water had to flow through there, and I would make kind of like a little culvert thing that the water would go through, and then it would sit here. I don't know if I ever did this or not. I vaguely recall having I know what I did. I did do this. I had a small fountain in this area at one point. There was a well in the yard. It was an older house, and so the well was like a big concrete. It was maybe 4 or 5 feet square, and it went a couple of feet up from the ground. It was actually really nice. It had stone on the side and everything. And on the top of it, we had made a little pond, and there was a fountain in there. And we would close the fountain in winter because it would freeze. And so before we opened it up for the summer, that fountain was just kind of floating around. And then so I'd grab that pump and put it in here, and for a period of time I had a fountain in here. Let me see if I can get a photograph of what it would have looked like, and so I can show what it was. It was a really cool fountain. It was these. These are so cool. I like these. It was one of these, and I just reminded me of something else. I forget where this was. There used to be a mall back when they were still popular. There was a mall that we would go to on occasion, and they had an indoor fountain, and it was full of these things. They were so cool. I had one of these, and I would put it in the center here, and it was so cool. So then I had the walkway here, and I would put another culvert. This is like a scrap of a, I mean, you can see like it's a broken piece of PVC gutter pipe or something. I would just find this stuff digging in the woods, and I'd use it. This is like another culvert here that the walkway was over. And you know, actually, another thing too, all these pieces of slate and all these bricks, which is stuff I dug up in the backwoods, because when the house was built, it was a slate walkway, really nice walkway. The whole house is really nice. It was a original owner house until we bought it, and the original owner was a home builder, so it was built really well back in the 60s. Anyway, so there was scrap pieces of things all over the property, and I would pile them up and use them, and that's what I made this out of. This is all put together with stuff that I found. None of this was like, okay, I want to build a walkway here that's this, this wide or this long, and so I need these bricks. Or this is all stuff that I just found and used. So that's that. And then it kind of came out. Well, this isn't a very good photograph. This one's better. I would even put like a little piece of slate there so it wouldn't erode as the water poured out, and then it would go over here. There's a good picture of the culverts. See, there was another culvert over there too. Another piece of the walkway went over the stream, and I had filled it all in and put that pipe there, and then it moved over, flowed over here, flowed to there. Oh, this is so cool. I really miss this. So you can see like the walkway is put together with total building scrap. We have this weird whatever that even is. Well, it is. Now, actually all of this stuff, I think, just about all of it, I took with me. My grandfather has a pickup truck, and I had him come over, and I'd put all this stuff in his truck, and we moved it to this house. And the patio outside that I've shown many times is built with these same bricks, and I have these pieces, but they're not really serving a purpose right now. Or are they? I don't remember. I have some of these pieces out there, and these slate pieces are still making up my walkway. So there's remnants of this stuff still. I took as much of this as I could with me. These solar lights were originally put in the back landscaping. And I remember in the summer when the windows was open, I'd look out the window, and right underneath the window was one of these lights. I thought it looked cool at night. And you've seen these before if you've watched my videos for a long time. I have two of these upstairs. I use them as night lights in the hallway and in the bathroom. These lights Actually, well, the reason why these ended up here is because these were removed from the back landscaping when the roof got refinished. And I kind of just stole them when they were taken out from the back. These lights, I convinced my grandmother to buy these for me. They were from, I think, Big Lots or whatever it was. They're real cheap at the time. And you can still buy ones that look pretty much identical to this. I have used these. I have bought them, I think in 2017. I bought a bunch of these to put around the yard here. This was in the woods, so it didn't really get any sun. And so a lot of times what I would do is I would come outside in the morning and I would take all the lights and I'd take them out and I'd move them into the yard where the sun was. Let them charge up all day, and then when the evening came and the sun started to go down, I'd put them all back. And so then when the sun went down and it was dark out, I'd go outside and they'd all be on. These I have, but they're in a very bad condition. I need to find some new ones. This I still have somewhere. This I still have somewhere. This I still have, but it needs repair. I believe I still have these cinder blocks in this piece of wood. This pipe, I think I have that somewhere. It's hard to see in this photograph, but this stick here and this stick, it's kind of falling over. But these had fell during a storm, and this was in the perfect shape of an H. And so I put that there, and I put the thing there to make high. Oh, this is much clearer, for heaven's sakes. I had that piece of wood still. I had used these up until a couple years ago. They finally started to rot out, and I just couldn't really keep them any longer. This piece of metal I still have. I don't know what that's for. I don't know why there's all those flags there. Is there a clearer picture? Yeah, there is. This is like I just grew small trees here. I had a thing with growing trees at the time. I don't know where this is, because this must have been a different time, because I don't think I used... This must have been like a different revision of the... There was a lot of different revisions of this thing over the years. I used to have the walkway like over here, and then this was kind of over there. So that must have been a different... from a different time frame. Let me see if I can grab a date off of that other picture. Unfortunately, a lot of the dates get kind of messed up over the years, you know, when you copy it and whatever. So I'm not exactly sure how accurate some of these are. Yeah, okay. So this photograph, this is 2007. This is 07. These are all on the same day. And then this was taken in 2009. So... Yeah, this must have just... Well, no, but this is the same... See, maybe... I don't know, something's a little bit weird here. Now the file numbers are the file names, the numbering would lead me to believe that the dates are correct. But then this photograph says it was taken in today. Oh, that's neither because I rotated it. I don't know. I'm confused now. I don't know where that is. So, okay, let's go back to the video here. Where are you, video? Here we go. Play again. I'll put the sound on. Why is it going so fast? So, right here, there was like a natural spring up here, and water would kind of flow in through here, and then it just like there must have been a natural spring over here too, because it would just start somewhere here. There's a big tree here. It would start here, and it would just like it was all wet back here, and it would just start to form the stream and then move out. This used to be different. I used to like sit over here, and I had a something else over here. I can't quite remember what it looked like, but I used to do something over there in earlier times. I don't know what this culvert was for. It wasn't serving any purpose like that. It was just sitting over there, again with the kind of building scraps just sitting around. It was there, but there was no water going through it. It wasn't in the ground like to work. I'm not sure where that either was supposed to go or where it came from. Could have had nothing to do with any of this. I'm not really sure. That would have just, I mean, that was long. That would have been kind of out of my reason of what I could do at the time. Although it would have been really cool to put that in. The whole thing here was just very aesthetically pleasing. You had all the rocks there and everything. It's really neat. And then at one point the walkway was more, it was more kind of like right here, because the terrain was like, it was there and then it went up a little bit, and so I had the walkway there and then it went kind of that way for a while, and that was just a bridge. Didn't have a culvert at the time. That was an earlier revision. I want to point out the detail here is just absolutely incredible. I'm still amazed I pulled this off at that age with so few tools. You have stones, gravel here, which I probably spent hours digging through the woods picking up these pieces of gravel. We have rocks around here, and this is actually where the design of my current yard out here at this house comes from, with the lights and then the rocks and the mulch. I had planted a singular Pachysandra thing there and mulched it, put the light there. Very intricate detail. Look at on both sides. I had the lights all around. I had more Pachysandra there. Man, the culvert going through here, and it would fall apart a lot because it wasn't built right. You know, it was just kind of threw it together. Well, I didn't just throw it together. I did it very carefully and very meticulously, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And so, you know, when it rained heavy, it would just flood over here, it would flood up here, and it would wash away. That's why the thing is like that. And then look at this here. Like, I have a little thing of mulch here. It's all bricked in. It's got the Pachysandra. It's got the light. The patio is all blocked up. Of course, like this should have not gotten more narrow there. That's probably part of why it flooded. But again, this is just doing stuff like this at the time. I didn't know any better. I've got all rocks in here. I think I might have also had the fountain. I might have put the fountain over here sometimes too. It was never there permanently because there was no power over here. I'd have to run an extension cord all the way across the yard, and so it was just you know, for the time I was out there. But I would have that. I might have put it there too. And I remember spending a lot of time out here at night with the lights and everything. I had at the time, I'm going to get a photograph of this. I had a Walkman, a Sony Walkman TV. A Sony Walkman TV. Okay, it looked, actually it might have been this this exact one. Oh, it was a Sony Watchman. A Sony Watchman TV. Oh, this is stinking e-ripoff. I don't want that. Yeah, it was something like this. This looks very familiar to me. I think this was the exact model. I had this TV, the Sony Watchman. This was, I mean, the screen was like 1.5 inches, maybe, but it was a pretty chunky device. I would say it was definitely bigger than a brick. But I had the Sony Watchman, the Sony Watchman, and at night I would come out here. I'd sit at the table, and I would watch TV sometimes. Didn't watch TV often. I usually talked on the phone. That was what I usually did. But every now and again, if there was something on that I happened to want to watch, I would sit at that table, and I would watch TV on this Watchman. And I think we still have this. I've seen it at my grandparents' house in the last couple of years. Of course, it's not usable anymore because it was analog. So you'd have to make your own transmitter to use this again. But that was a really cool device. I didn't use it often, only a handful of times, but it was really cool when I had used it. So anyways, that's that. And then I had that candle lantern up on top of the table, and it really lit everything up really good. Another culvert here. And this was a bike bridge back over this way. Well, we'll see it coming up in a moment. Okay, so all in the back here, whenever it would rain real heavy, it would get kind of all swampy and muddy like this, and we used to go ride the bikes back there, because that's what we did before the iPhones took over. Now I guess people don't do that no more. Oh, there you can see it up there. See, all back here we used to go. And I would always have to come out here in the rain and clean it up because there was roots that went through here, and the leaves and stuff would get caught on it, and it would clog up. See here, this got all clogged up. This is what would happen when we would get a good rain. And I would always go out here and unclog it. And I wasn't doing anything fancy. I'm just using a stick here. You know, this is all constructed very primitively. And then, so it would go out here. It would go out to the edge. See, it's all blocked up right there. It would go out to the edge of the road. And then it would go to the right. And if this clogged up at all, it would flood the street. So I just kept that clean. And then it dumped maybe 100 feet this way. It would dump into a much larger stream that always ran. And it had a pretty big culvert. I would say maybe 2 feet wide or more, 2-3 feet. And it went under the street. And that was a pretty big stream. When it would rain heavy, that would really get going. A lot of water really moving through there. That thing was going fast. And then the stream went behind this house. I think they went back a little bit further. Then it went over to the left. I guess there was no other house there. The houses are pretty spread out in this area. It would go back and it went over. So there was 1, 2, 3 houses, and then the road went back. And the there was the stream. I think it combined with another one, and it would flow this way, and it got wider, and there were 3 culverts where it went under the road over there. And I distinctly remember this one time it rained real heavy. I forget, it must have been some notable storm, but it rained so heavy that the water got up to the top of the road, and so it actually covered the culvert. It was creating a siphon, and I remember going down there and looking at it, and now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that was so dangerous. I can't believe I actually went over there when it was like that, because I mean, these are 2 or 3 foot culverts. They could have even been bigger than that. I don't really remember. They were big. A siphon condition on a 3 foot culvert, holy mackerel, you're not getting off that thing if you fell in the water. So that's just scary to think about. But I remember that. And on a regular basis, I used to like to walk down there and see it flowing normally. Normally, it would flow gently. It's just a couple inches of flow, and it was perfectly safe to go down and look at it. But I remember that very well. Spent a lot of time going around looking at these ponds. I mean these culverts and these streams. Hours and hours doing that. Funny enough, the house, not this one you're looking at here, 2 over from this house, that house is vacant. The people that lived in it at the time were elderly, well into their retirement. They would move down to Florida for the winter and then come back for the summer. I believe in the last couple of years, or actually it might have even been longer than that, they permanently moved to Florida. I don't even know if they're still alive, but the house has been vacant for years. Love to buy that house. I made one attempt to contact the owners, because the neighbor that lives in the house we're looking at through the woods here, they knew the address of the children, I think. So a letter was sent. There was no reply, unfortunately. Yeah, I hope maybe the timing will hit just right and they decide to sell it this spring, which we're kind of already into the spring. Although, with the way the housing prices are going right now, probably couldn't afford it anyways. But I've seen photographs of that house. It is an absolute time capsule of the 1970s. It's beautiful inside. I don't know if it's still in good condition because it's been sitting, but it used to be in immaculate condition. And that backyard backs up to the 3 culverts. Oh, it would be so cool to live there. But I don't think that's going to happen. So anyways, so this is the stream that I spent much of my childhood around back at the other house. And when I finally get my own house, one of the projects I'm going to do is to put something like this in the yard. Probably build the bottom of it out of firestone or concrete or something so that the water doesn't go into the ground much. I'll get a pump that will recirculate it through, and I'll have some kind of recreation of this once again.